How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 7th of July 2022. So I want to talk about the chart that I posted yesterday. I'm going to kind of continue the study of the 1 2 3 4. Which one of those is going to be traded to, and what does that mean if 1 2 3 or 4 is traded to, and are we likely to see a little bit of continued movement to the upside? When you look at BNB, you can see that BNB is teetering on that little, that last little push to go into 250, which I feel is very possible. I'm not going to say 100% likely, but I'm quite confident that Binance wants to drive towards that 250 purely because it's an imbalance, and if it rebalances there, then it kind of opens everything up in terms of that downside momentum to continue for objective fulfillment on Bitcoin. But before I get into the chart, if you're finding value in the content that I create, consider subscribing, smash that like button, and let's go over to the Bitcoin chart. So this was the chart that I posted yesterday, and we have open liquidity at 4, we have open liquidity at number 2, and then we have number 1 and we have number 3. Okay, now when you look at the structure of what's happening here, we can see that we're effectively going sideways. Okay, and we had this kind of arching move up, a little bit of a run down, creates this higher low, starts to grind sideways a little bit, and then it's slowly grinding up with a very key interesting moment just here above number 1, right? And that is price dropped, and then it reached up, negated the move or voided that move, neutralizing it, and now we're slowly grinding back to the upside. Now, it is very possible, before I continue, that we see a drop, a nasty, just out of nowhere drop. Okay, and this would be akin to, for example, the Federal Reserve releasing some news, okay, that is not welcomed by the market at all, and then we just get this nasty drop. Okay, there's always the possibility of that, because at the moment, any rally in this very strong downtrend, okay, can be met with aggressive selling or flash crashes. Okay, this is something that's very important to understand, because the moment where price drops and hits that objective fulfillment point, which is anywhere between 14 to 16,000, somewhere around that range. Okay, while we're waiting for that to happen, anything can happen in that moment. Okay, we can get rallies, we can get short-term movements to the upside, we can get a little bit of pickups and deal offs on the way back up, but ultimately that underlying current, that underlying strength is to the downside. There's a lot of weakness there, so I always have this in the back of my mind when I'm doing these types of analysis. So with this little bit of a run to the upside, okay, if price, and we'll do this so we have a little bit more room to work with, I'm going to go through a few scenarios. Okay, I'm not going to bother kind of stretching these out, but I'm going to go through a few scenarios. Both of them are contingent on the same thing happening in the sense of liquidity. Okay, and that is either it drives up and scoops up this liquidity, or it drives down and scoops up this liquidity. Okay, there's two areas of liquidity, but depending on which one of those is traded to first will depend whether or not we are going to get a continued move to the upside or a continued move to the downside. Okay, because it's all about confirmation. It's all about finding which of these moments in time and action on the chart and price delivery is going to tell us whether or not that downward momentum pressure is still there, or whether it's slowly starting to recede and we're putting in this, really sort of long drawn out bottom, right? So as it stands, we could potentially come down, scoop this liquidity, and then the reaction down here will tell us whether or not, okay, we're likely to go straight for 3 and continue running deeper into this very large liquidity pool to absorb more liquidity, right? If we get a response like this would be fantastic, because it's very likely at that point that we will continue to drive towards these highs, and then a movement to the upside. I'm not sure, I'm sure it's not just going to be a straight move like this. We'll probably get something like this maybe, and then a continuation to the upside to take out this over here. So this could be one of the scenarios that we can expect to see, or could see, on Bitcoin. There's also another scenario, which is very interesting and very important. And that is we continue to kind of just do this and then slowly grind to the upside, and then start to really accelerate towards this level here as we get closer to this liquidity pool. And that acceleration, and speed running into that last portion to scoop up this liquidity will again tell us whether or not price is looking to reach for liquidity to the upside as a rally in a downtrend, or whether it's looking to actually shift in flow and slowly start to, to kind of build this momentum shift from bearish to bullish, right? The other scenario, which is a very interesting one, would be if price comes down to number 1 and then slowly starts to kind of grind as it goes into 2, scoops up that liquidity down here, maybe a little bit of a run, rebalance a little bit up here if there's any, sort of imbalances left behind, and then slowly start to just do this. And at that point, it's very likely, that we're going to be driving to 3, something like this maybe. And again, a little bit of acceleration as it takes out this low and runs deeper to absorb some liquidity here. So when you're going through these scenarios, okay, and you're trying to kind of plan out, even if you have absolutely no idea and you're new to trading, you're new to charting, you're new to using these types of, tools to figure out what the market's going to do. When you go through this process and you slowly start to build out some scenarios, you start to understand when they happen, one, you're not surprised, but two, you have the confidence, right, that you were right on some level. Okay, and it calms your emotions down and allows you to assess objectively, right? If we were just, going back to the chart, for example, let me do this. If we were just looking at, price the way that it is right now, just for argument's sake, and I'll just do this for now. If we were just looking at price like that now, on the hourly chart, we don't really know what's going on. It's very difficult to look at all of this and say, probably going to go up or it's probably going to go down. We really have absolutely no idea. But when we put everything on the chart, we start to slowly build this narrative, okay, that helps us to understand whether or not price, is going to be reaching for one thing or another. And if it does, what that actually means for us as traders or for us as investors in terms of engaging with the cryptocurrency market again, right? So I don't want to drag this video out too long. I wanted to do this video quite early, so later, I want to kind of jump back on and I want to continue to watch, price on the hourly chart and see whether or not we're going to be driving to some of these levels, what that looks like, what it means. And I want to kind of do this real-time study with you guys, to give you a better indication as to how, or at least why charting in this way and understanding price flows and understanding movement, on the charts gives you a much better objective view on Bitcoin and thus the entire cryptocurrency market, because this is of course the benchmark. So with all of that said, I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic day or evening wherever you are in the world, and I look forward to speaking to you a little bit later. All the best, take care, ciao for now.